I hired a $10 an hour app developer. I thought I was getting a great deal, but it ended up nearly wrecking my app. Here's what really happened. So here's the backstory. Around about a couple of years ago, around about early 2023, I was going away on holidays for around about 10 days to Sydney. And I had been working on the Web PMF app by myself, but I needed someone to overtake and implement a couple of things when I was away to continue progressing the app. So I needed someone to implement a database within the app to save and restore the therapies completed by the user. And the second thing that I needed to be implemented in the code was unit tests within the app source code. Now, if you guys don't know what unit tests are, pretty much unit tests is a development code where we implement tests within our source code to make sure that the original source code that we implemented is working as intended. It's pretty much designed to be used as a simulation of the code to make sure that everything is working correctly as intended. Especially when we change the code or refactor it, we want to make sure that everything is working as intended as before. So I did what you probably do. I went to Upwork.com, posted my job, and all the candidates came in for my job. And I eventually found the cheapest one for around about $10 an hour. And I thought this is great because all he has to do is just implement these two things. The database to save and restore all the information and display it on the app. And also to implement unit tests within the source code as well, which I specifically asked for. And which he said that he knew about and how to implement for my app. So I thought everything's gonna be great. All I have to do is just give him the source code and all that, and he's good to go. And I also gave him a flowchart as well to explain the process of how I wanted everything to be done. I drafted up a flowchart within Microsoft Visio to explain how everything's been put together, and surely he has enough information to implement the code and everything that I want for these two things. I even gave him around about 3 weeks to complete everything, so there was going to be plenty of time for him to complete these two major things that I needed to be implemented in the app. But after 3 weeks, when I received the source code in the APK, oh man, it was a disaster because nothing was working as intended that he implemented. And you know what the worst thing was? He actually introduced more bugs to the source code of the app than ever before. So all the things that were fixed previously, he just made everything 10 times worse. And I had to tell him and show him with full video evidence that, hey, listen buddy, you've added in more bugs to the app that you have to fix now, or at least try to fix. And the way that you've tried to implement the database in regards to saving and restoring it and displaying the information, it's all incorrect. So I showed him all of this, and then he realized that he had done it all wrong, and then he said he was very sorry and all that. And then I said, listen, I can give you another 2-3 weeks to try and fix up everything and all that. But another question that I have is, have you implemented the unit test for everything that I wanted in the app? And then he confessed to me, no, sorry, I haven't been able to implement the unit test because I'm still learning how to do it. I'm like, what do you mean you're still learning how to do it? You said you could implement the unit test in your job application. No, I'm still learning on the fly how to actually write unit tests and all that as a complete beginner. So you just lied to me in your application, on your job ad, saying that you could write unit tests, but now you're saying that you can't. Oh boy. So he's told me lies, he's introduced more bugs in the app, and now he's just made everything worse. And now everything that he's tried to implement, it's not going the way the way it's intended. I'm like, listen, buddy, we're gonna end it here. You've made everything worse. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end the contract here. I'm gonna pay you half of the money of what I spent. I'm not gonna ask for a refund, but I'm just gonna let you go because this has been a disaster, and I've had enough. So what are the lessons that we can learn from this experience that can be applied to you? So the first thing to understand is that if you hire offshore developers for around about $10 an hour, don't expect everything to be working. Expect probably more bugs and more issues that you're going to be facing within your app. The second thing you need to understand is that you're going to be spending more time trying to get them to understand what you want implemented, even though you've repeatedly told them, you've showed evidence and all that it's not working, and then you've given them documentation, pages of documentation, flowcharts, existing source code, you've given them everything that they need to know. There's no guarantee that they're still going to get it, especially if they're an offshore developer, because of the language barriers and all that and everything. The third thing that you're likely going to get is you're probably going to get poor code quality and actually more bugs than what I had in my source code when you're outsourcing these work to offshore developers as well. So I had to spend more time and money with the second developer to fix the issues that the first developer created. Do you see the mess here? So more money spent on the second developer when I could have just hired the second developer who was more expensive but to get everything right on the first go, instead of hiring the first developer, bringing in all these bugs and issues from the first guy, and now the second guy has to try and fix everything from the first guy. it's just a mess, and I don't want you guys to do that and all that. So that's why I highly recommend that you pick someone who actually knows what they're doing, who's probably going to be more expensive but has better value and actually understands your project and isn't going to screw up everything on the first go. So that's my story of trying to use a $10 freelancer for my app, which ended up being a complete disaster. I don't want you guys to make the same mistake I made, because I've seen other business owners and startup founders try and do the same thing, and the exact same scenario has happened to them as well, where they've lost time and money trying to explain everything to these offshore developers that charge $5 to $15 an hour, and they've screwed up everything and everything's a mess, and they've ended up having to hire someone like me to try and fix up everything, or someone else on the second go and all that, which ends up costing them more time and more money to try and fix everything after the complete shit show of the first guy. Now, if you're looking for someone to actually help you bring your app to life on the first go, with minimal bugs and minimal errors, and if you're someone who actually understands your business and who actually understands both business and software development, and that can combine that both well together for you, I would invite you to click on the link below to book in a free call with me. We'll discuss your app idea and how I can help you bring it to life in the easiest and fashionable way possible. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my story today. If you enjoyed the story as well, smash the like button down below and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.